panel this morning, and each of these four pretty accomplished women. So bear with me, they all deserve their own introduction. And so it'll take a few minutes, just so you know. First is Christine Lindner, who is currently serving as the 63rd Alice in Dairyland. As Wisconsin's Ag Ambassador, she is striving to communicate with urban and rural audiences across Wisconsin about the importance of our state's diverse ag industry in our lives. Christine grew up on her family's 4th generation dairy farm in Beaver Dam and presently resides in Fall River with her husband. She graduated with honors from UW-Madison in 2006, earning a degree in ag journalism. During her year as Alice, Christine is using her agri-marketing experience to communicate with audiences how our state's diverse ag industry impacts every Wisconsinite. Following her year as Alice, she will be returning as the marketing manager for Animart, where she's been responsible for the company's dairy and livestock marketing, communications, and public relations initiatives since 2007. Next is Sheri Hicken. A Sauk County native, Sheri grew up in Baraboo, where she was active in 4-H and FFA. She attended UW River Falls, earning a bachelor's degree in ag education. Proud to share agriculture's story, Sheri served as a Wisconsin State FFA officer and the 54th Alice in Dairyland. Her support for the ag industry and ag education continues today through her participation in Farm Bureau's Ag in the Classroom program and her involvement in the FFA alumni. She works at Willersham Winery, in Prairie du Sac as the winery's web manager and visual communications manager. Next is Courtney Booth. From Forest Junction, Wisconsin, Courtney was your 50th Alice in Dairyland and the 1996 Wisconsin Fairest of the Fairs. Today she hails from Plymouth, Wisconsin, where she and her husband Chris own Booth Haven Holsteins, a small show heifer and cow care operation. Courtney stays home full-time with her 3, soon-to-be 4, children, and is also known as a passionate ag promoter and owner of Booth's Business Builders, working with several ag-based organizations throughout the state. She volunteers as the communications coordinator for the Sheboygan County Farm Bureau Ag in the Classroom. She chairs the Sheboygan County Fairest of the Fair Committee, and she serves on the Wisconsin 4-H Foundation Board of Directors. For the past 6 years, she has been an active volunteer for World Dairy Expo's media communications, doing show ring and candid interviews. Courtney also chaired the 2008 Alice in Dairyland Finals and served on the executive and publicity committees of the 2006 Farm Technology Days. Courtney loves to serve the Lord in all she does, and is also involved in her church's Christian Education Board as secretary and teaches Sunday school. Finally, we have Liz Henry, Wisconsin's 39th Alice in Dairyland. Liz grew up in Racine, Wisconsin, and began her pursuit of a life in agriculture when she came to UW-Madison and earned degrees in meat and animal science and dairy science. She returned later to obtain an MBA on the U.S. Holstein Association Robert Rumler MBA scholarship. Liz has served on many boards, from the Madison Opera to Wisconsin State Fair Park Board, Badgerland Farm Credit Services, Madison Area Technical College, National Dairy Shrine, UW-Madison College of Ag and Life Sciences Board of Visitors, Wisconsin Ag and Life Sciences Alumni Association, and she has worked for a variety of agribusinesses, including the American Breeder Service, UW Foundation, Kraft Foods, Badger AgVest, and the Rank Agribusiness Institute. She and her husband Joe own and operate Henry Farms LLC, a seed corn and seed soybean farm. They recently began barreling bourbon to diversify their operations. They have 2 sons whom they hope will be involved in agriculture in the future. Liz and her husband have been Farm Bureau and Farm Credit members for over 25 years and are proud to be a part of the Wisconsin agribusiness industry. Please welcome Christine Lindner, Sheri Hicken, Courtney Booth, and Liz Henry.
Thank you very much, Tammy. As Diane said last night, that's the best, most recent introduction we've all had. I want to welcome all of you, and really, we're very, very excited to be here because we are all ag women, and it's wonderful to see such a great turnout of ag women at this summit, women who share their love of agriculture, faith, family, farm, however you prioritize the things that you do every day, and the fact that you came to share with us in creating your brand. Now, what we discussed as far as being able to discuss creating your brand with all of you is we had the great fortune of all 4 serving as Alice in Dairyland. And Alice is a brand icon for the state's agriculture and agricultural production. So we've been brainstorming and we've been trying to think of the best way that we could convey to all of you what it's like to create your brand. Because each of us shared the experience of being Alice and being ag or rural women in that role, but we also brought our unique and independent experiences to that brand because we are all separate and have our own brands when we leave the job or even when we enter it. So what we want to talk about today, obviously, is creating your brand. And we want to talk about you. But before we begin, I'd like everyone in the room, just with show of hands, who has had an experience with Alice and the Alice program to raise their hands. Has anyone been an applicant? Do you know an applicant? Thank you. That's a pretty good turnout. If you've had Alice come and speak to one of your events, if you've been at the finals, which is a huge job interview process, if you've had any of those experiences, then you've been exposed to the brand. And we're hoping that all of you at least have an idea of what Alice is and what she does and what her goal is or her mission to accomplish. What I'd like you all to do right now is think about if you had to describe Alice, not Sheri, not Courtney, not me, but Alice, in one word, what would that word be? Thinking, thinking, thinking. What we're going to do is we're going to come back and we're going to do what we call a whip around. And for those of you who were at the exercise session this morning, you know that you're supposed to get up and move. And so we're going to try to get you all to get up and move. And I realize we're in a little tight space, but we thought it would be a great idea to have you at tables so that you could have conversation as you're developing your brand. So right now, everybody's thinking about that word. What is the word that you would use to describe Alice, okay? What we're going to do is called a whip around. I'm going to ask everybody in the room, it's going to go very fast, so get ready, to stand up and say their word. And it's going to go like this. Ready? Christine.
Ambassador. Promoter. Spokesperson. Advocate. Educator.
Stand up when you say your word, please, so that you get your moment. Okay.
Advocate. Wisconsin. Communicator. Professional. Educator. Ambassador. Wisconsin. Leader. Ambassador. Passionate. Spokesperson. Educator. Accomplished. Enthusiastic. Educator. An example. Advocate. Passionate.
Represents.
Spokesperson. Wisconsin. Leader. Motivational. Knowledgeable. Educator.
Please be loud because everybody can hear you if you say it loud when you stand up. Thank you.
Educator. Represent. Promoter. Mentor. Advocate. Agriculture. Reliable. Role model. Education. Agriculture.
Dynamic.
Education. Leader. Wisconsin. Inspire. Educated. Wisconsin. Agriculture. Admire. Traveler. Advocate. Ambassador. Agriculture. Professional. Educator. Full of life. Wisconsin. Agriculture. Ambassador. Enthusiastic. Promoter. Multitasker. Voice. Wisconsin. Let's keep going. Promoter. Educator. Commitment. Communicator. Agriculture. Role model. Truth-sayer. Educator. Communicator. Ambassador. Leader. Agriculture. Educator. Leader. Educator. Progressive. Passionate. Committed. Promoter. Agriculture. Enthusiast. Ambitious.
I'm behind you.
Energetic. Teacher. Enthusiastic. Unique.
Let's jump
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I think she's a sweetheart.
Rule breaker. Love it.
Education. Promoter. Fun. Spokesman. Communicator.
You guys already went, I'm sorry.
Poised. Ambassador. Committed. Passionate. Agriculture. Advocate.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. It took a minute, but it's really important that we hear all your words and that you all had a chance to think about it. I was really proud of the fact that nobody said, oh, you already took my word. It's okay to repeat words. We don't judge on what words you come up with. And I was really interested in how many words were in the same categories or in the same buckets. We heard a lot of words again and again, which is interesting because that probably tells us that we know what our brand is, and we know that you know that we have a very consistent message as to what Alice is viewed as. So now we're going to move into